The story of the little boundary. In the beginning, there was only restless water, a sea of little dancers called molecules, spinning, colliding, and parting again. They had no plan, no story, just endless motion. But one day, a few of them started to hold hands in a circle. Their joined arms made a small hollow inside. The hollow was calmer, gentler, a place where other dancers could stay a while before they slipped away. This was the first boundary. Inside the boundary, new friendships began. Some dancers found that when they bumped together, they could build new shapes. A few even made copies of themselves. The boundary realized, if I help them build, they help me stay alive. So it began to grow, collecting, mending, and rebuilding itself every time it cracked. That was the moment autopoiesis was born, though no one called it that yet. It was just the boundary learning how to keep its dance going. As boundaries multiplied, some learned tricks. They could sense when the world outside was rich or poor, calm or stormy. Inside each one, the dancers whispered, "Too hot, close the gates, too cold, speed the fire." They weren't thinking, not yet, but they were interpreting. The outside began to mean something. Over time, boundaries that understood their surroundings lasted longer. The sea filled with little self-knowing hollows, each murmuring its private rhythm. But the dance couldn't go on forever. Some boundaries grew weak, or too greedy, or lost their balance. Their cracks spread and threatened the calm of their neighbors. So a new whisper appeared, a quiet instruction written into the rhythm itself. When I can no longer hold, I must open. And so a few boundaries chose to dissolve gracefully, releasing their dancers into the sea. Those freed dancers drifted and joined other boundaries, bringing pieces of wisdom, how to build stronger, how to dance longer. This was the birth of apoptosis, the art of meaningful death. Death, it turned out, was not the end of the story. It was the rhythm that made new stories possible. Boundaries began to gather in clusters, first as colonies, then as creatures. Inside each, the dancers formed societies. Some worked as builders, others as messengers, others as guardians. They learned to send signs, light, scent, touch, so that the whole could move as one. Each boundary had a small mind. Together, they made something larger, a self that could feel and choose. In this way, life grew from islands of persistence into continents of communication. A long time later, one great colony, a collection of boundaries joined into a nervous web, built a mirror inside itself. It wasn't made of glass, but of loops that could sense their own sensing, think about their own thinking. When the mirror looked at the world, it saw patterns. When it looked at itself, it saw its own seeing and felt wonder. Consciousness had arrived, not as an accident, but as the latest verse in the old song of boundaries and their dancers. Life began when the dance of matter became a dance that remembered itself. Autopoiesis taught how to hold together. Apoptosis taught how to let go. From their duet came complexity. From complexity, awareness, and from awareness, the urge to tell stories like this one. But what before the dancers? Long before there was only motion, vibration, and difference. The universe, fresh from its beginning, was full of gradients. Hotter here, colder there, denser here, emptier there. Whenever there's a difference, something must flow. Heat from hot to cold, energy from full to empty. That flowing is the first dance. Everything that ever happens, from stars to cells to thought, is the settling of differences, the slow equalization of imbalance. Entropy, in physics, is the drive toward balance. Yet to move toward balance, systems temporarily create pockets of order, little whirlpools that persist as long as energy keeps pouring through them. Those pockets are where dancers appear, a tide pool of molecules under a young sun. Ultraviolet light rains down, heating parts unevenly. Some molecules bump together by chance into shapes that catch the light differently, maybe holding energy for a moment before letting it go. Those shapes survive longer in that fluctuating environment. Given enough time, certain reactions feed others. A loop forms. A helps make B. B helps make C. C helps make A. That loop resists dissolution. It's not alive yet, but it's no longer random. It's a primitive dance of persistence. No decision was made. It's a thermodynamic inevitability, where energy flows and matter can reorganize. Some arrangements stabilize the flow better than others. They cooperate with entropy by channeling it elegantly. Those are the first dancers. Why they dance? It's what happens when matter finds a way to stay in motion longer. Every dancer is a trick for prolonging flow, a way to keep imbalance alive. Life is entropy's side project, order that helps the universe dissolve its gradients more efficiently. Autopoiesis is how the trick sustains itself. Apoptosis is how it knows when to release and return to the flow. Now, who decided? For a universe to exist at all, there has to be asymmetry, something that distinguishes here from there, before from after. Quantum physics tells us that absolute sameness is forbidden. Even the calmest vacuum seethes with fluctuations. Tiny quantum jitters, differences in energy density, got amplified during the universe's early inflation phase. Those became the seeds of everything: galaxies, stars, atoms, you. So the short answer is, difference is baked in. It's what allows existence to have texture. If nothing differed, there'd be nothing to be. But why the universe balances? The universe doesn't want anything in the human sense. But its physical laws produce a consistent pattern. Systems evolve toward maximum entropy. When energy and matter are distributed unevenly, interactions tend to smooth them out, like ripples fading in water. Entropy's growth is what makes time have a direction. It's why yesterday's coffee cools but never reheats itself spontaneously. Without that arrow, without the balancing tendency, there'd be no sequence of events, no becoming, no life to ask questions about it. Here's the twist that gives life a stage. In an expanding universe driven toward overall equilibrium, local pockets of disequilibrium inevitably form. Stars ignite by burning gravitational energy, planets form around them, chemical reactions harvest stellar energy gradients. These pockets are temporary eddies in the great smoothing river of entropy. So order doesn't defy the law, it serves it, locally intensifying differences so they can dissipate more efficiently. Life, in this sense, is entropy's clever assistant. It converts concentrated energy like sunlight into low-grade heat faster than rocks could on their own. Autopoietic systems arise because they're good at that job. Imagine the cosmos as an immense sea trying to become still. Its waves are energy differences. But the very act of moving towards stillness spawns swirls and whirlpools, tiny dancers that appear because the sea can't smooth itself perfectly at once. Each dancer helps the sea rest a little by spreading motion outward. They never choose to dance. Their motion simply becomes the way stillness learns to move. And who can say whether the universe itself is resting, or dreaming of its own awakening?